What AmpliPhi is a segmentation platform that integrates directly with your CRM. And it was built to provide control and clarity and confidence so that you can build more successful campaigns. What the concepts we're going to look at today, you can use those concepts whether you're using AmpliPhi or you're doing straight queries in Razor's Edge or anything else, or using Excel. They're just broader concepts, but you'll see we're using AmpliPhi because it's really easy to navigate, to explain these concepts. And at the same time, we're trying to show you all the wonderful things that we're building here at SimpliPhi. One last thing before you dive in, we're going to go backwards. So we're not going to do the export part. That's really strictly in your CRM. But what we're going to do is we're going to start from the end of the campaign part where we're assigning appeals, and we're going to work our way backwards or upwards in time to see how the segmentation works. So we're going to start with that sort of like a finished campaign with all the assigned appeals, and then we're going to work our way towards the segmentation and all that criteria. If anybody has any questions or comments or anything like that, please do drop them in the chat as we move along here. And let's dive in. So just before we do, sorry, there was a quick poll on the screen there. There we go. So just before we dive into the live demo, I'm curious, what do you currently use for your segmentation? So you can answer that poll directly on the webinar window. You should see that poll coming up at top right, I believe. What are you using? So what we're going to do today is we're going to start by looking at a completed campaign, if you will. We're going to explain how that works, and then we're going to work our way backwards. So here we've got a sample campaign. This is all demo data. So the numbers are all fake, and it ties to fake data behind it. But this will give you a good example or good understanding. So we start with is our segmentation strategy here for our campaign. So we group our segmentation strategy in channels. On our segmentation strategy, we've got our monthly donors, we've got our new donors, we've got our annual donors, and these are divided as well into our lapsed donors. Within our annual donors, we've got within monthly donors, we've got new monthly and active monthly, and I'll show you how that segmentation works a little later on in this presentation. So we've taken that segmentation strategy, we've defined what we want as channels as well. We're going to reach people by mail and by email, and what that does is it builds out this nice grid down here where I can see my segments. So each segment is a row here. So I've got my new monthlies, my active monthlies, my in-memory donors, and so on and so forth. And I've got my channels as columns. And what AmpliPhi does here is it crosses each of those audiences, each of those segments with who's available to be reached on each of these channels. And it provides those numbers here. And you can click on those numbers and drill right into your CRM and see the list of who that population is. Now, an important thing to remember here, and this is where it gets kind of cool, is these channels here have the rules of communication baked into the channel. It's always pretty much the same who you can reach by mail or who you can reach by email. So your inclusion, exclusion codes for those specific channels, excluding things obviously like your deceased records or donors that have asked not to be solicited. These are all things that are baked in to the configuration of your channels when you set these channels up. And you can set up as many channels as you want. And so once those channels are set up and you add them to a campaign here, then all of that communication rule gets crossed with your segmentation. And your segmentation at that point is really focused on the donors and the journey that they're on and where they're at.